It's Friday. It's November 24th, 2023. Um, just things that are that are circumstances that are going on. One was yesterday was Thanksgiving. I wound up working. I had the most delightful uh, uh, person, my son's age, come in, my youngest son's age. Um, he just he asked me just the way he asked me questions and stuff. I mean it's on the CCTV, but um, it was just he made me smile. Um, but I informed him. I said, no, my older three I won't be seeing today. Um, but I will be spending it with my younger son. And so he was going to spend it with people that he loved and that loved him, which we agreed was the most important thing. Um, then I came home and I tried to like, I tried to stay like American Thanksgiving in this like holly day. And um, I watched the Thanksgiving Day parade. I taped it on Channel 2, the See the BS. Um, and it opens very anti American, in my opinion. It opens with Broadway theatrical show of Aladdin. Um, and then it goes to the live shots of Fifth Avenue. And I watched the balloons. Now, they had a balloon which was a mallard, Mallard, eating a hoagie sandwich or Subway sandwich, I don't know. Um, and they said it was from some movie called Migration. I had never heard of this movie. It did not enter the New York market. I never heard of it. I I put on Netflix. I looked on Netflix, Amazon Prime, and on Verizon on demand. I cannot find this movie. It does not exist in the digital library that I have access to. But yet there it was on Fifth Avenue in the Macy's Day Parade, like it was, and they called it Uncle Dan, whatever that meant. I have no idea. But even the floats, they did not even look American. It did not have an American feel to it. It felt very anti-American, honestly. I can't. And it looked sloppy. Um, like the Diary of the Wimpy Kid, the hand was deflated. Um, and there were some others. And again, I'm only saying it because of other things that I have going on in the New York field with the hospitals and with my health and with this. Like, it just, it's a problem. It's an ongoing problem. And I don't know how to articulate it properly without, you know, I mean, without retribution. That I mean, like it's almost like an impossible feat. Um, so anyhow, so going back to I I needed they have me on some white powder. Um we'll just go generically. It's a white powder that comes in a small packet from the doctor that I have to almost like mix an elixir. So this way there's no brand names on it, but I do have serious issues um, going on. So whatever this powder is, um, I am what I'm experiencing is when I analyze in a gross urine analysis just by eye, um, color is of the outer coating of a lemon, so like that lemon yellow, and it sits very specific gravity dense and relative to the gravity of water, which is all around it. And it does not dispel and diffuse whatsoever into the water. That was my first inkling that something was wrong, along with this. I don't have the high smell of ammonia at the moment. That's been an intermittent problem that I've experienced. But right now, the specific to relative gravity is, and again, I'm thinking back to anatomy physiology, not quite sure, and I don't have a professional to base this off of and ask um, about like the lymphatic system, if there's something at crossing membranes, something at the pump level, if cellularly or molecular biologically, that's going on. I don't know how to decipher it. In this healthcare system in New York at the moment, they send you to a primary and then all these specialists, and then you collect all of this data for what and for whom, I don't know. I had to ask for a refill, and my doctor was not on call, so it went to another doctor. There's been two Dr. Chens on my record as of late. Um, and one of them, he said to me, because he's an oncologist hematologist, and he's like, well, what kind of cancer is it? And I said, they didn't say I had cancer. They're just giving me these packets, and I have to go in for this treatment they call hydration. And so he was like, he seemed very confused by this, as was I. I mean, I felt like almost like aphasia. I mean, trying to speak to like this medical professional who holds all of these degrees, works at this like high class like cancer institute and research facility, and here I am like, I've got some knowledge. I mean, I'm not totally, but I don't even know how to articulate or verbalize it in the appropriate manner. And I've got these observations that I've made, which shows me that my body chemistry is off in a big way metabolically. Um, but I don't know how to get, I mean, like, and I don't know why it's so difficult to hire a doctor or to find a doctor. I mean, Dr. Trotta has been the closest to anybody, but they're not forthcoming with these. I mean, I went and I told Dr. Singh this. I went to, and now these are all doctors that are just around this one practice, seeing this one doctor in the Catholic health system. So I went to this other doctor out in Long Island called Patel, and he told me that my platelets were really high. He told me I had a staph infection at one point. He told me I was my red blood cells were low. Like, he was giving me the Quest diagnostic blood results. But when I said to him, like, what does that mean? Like, what do I need to do to correct it? It was years of going to see this guy and checking in with him, and not him collecting data, but not engaging me in healthy practice of like getting to back, like to restoring my health, just kind of dragging me along. So now I'm seeing Dr. Trotta. Um, so I had to call in for this white powder replacement because I'm out. And what I've noticed is with taking this white powder mixed with water in this drink, is that the dense gravity yellow fluid um, is now, I mean, it's still a very heavy, like, bolus of lemon yellow fluid, but there is some diffusion into the water when I'm doing a gross urine analysis after consistently taking it. but it's not enough because the fluid is still like, and my back hurts, which I'm afraid are my kidneys being so overexerted with this fluid transfer that it's having trouble with. um and it's like, and then I have on top of that the healthcare system where there's a healthcare system in place. It's just, I I don't know what is wrong with like the, like how do you get care where they actually bring you in restorative care. um so so it was weird because I'm like, on the one hand I'm like, they're sending me to a cancer center and they're hooking me up to this IV. So it sounds like, but I'm like, but they're not giving me any answers. They're not saying that that's what it is. And I can see these, I can do a gross physical analysis of my own. Um but you know, again, like, am I somebody's senior thesis so they can get their doctorate, but I'm not being offered the same level of education? Like, I don't even know. And how do I correct this for myself, because I don't want to lose a kidney. I don't want to need an organ transplant. I'd like to correct it before it turns into some other phase or other problem. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know if it's a foodborne illness. I don't know if it's, again, I don't have like biomolecular genetics testing facility. Like, I don't know where to go for that. Um, it's just part of this like changing demographic in my local area, mixed with the monetary system of like, I heard yesterday Bill O'Reilly came on the radio and he said, he's like, it seems to be localized to just New York. He's like, New York seems to be somehow on this like global scale, but yet the rest of the country is working on some other matrix. And I'm just, and I sat there like letting his words sink in and the totality of it. And I'm like, and then I turned on the news this morning and it's talking about transitioning nation and like, and transgenders with the minority. And I'm like, and then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, when I go to the grocery store and I'm looking at what's there, I'm like, does this have something to do with like Asia major and minor? Like, and why is my market here in New York in the Northeast? I mean, the Federal Reserve is defined. It's on the portrait, it's on the note. Um, so again, and why am I not being, like, there's a first family. There's a portrait of the first family. There's the past presidents that make America America. Um, so I am just in total disbelief of how difficult it's become to get the correct health care. I also noticed some of the other pale skinned people down in Bay Terrace, some of the older population, probably about 30 years older than I am, the dorsal side of their hands, it looks like, I mean, again, there's there's cutaneous, subcutaneous, and epidermal um, layers of the dorsal side of the hand. And I noticed in some of my older persons that I'm not necessarily related to, but they have light skin and they're in my local area. They are down to like bone, to like a thin layer of skin over bone, very much like my grandmother was right before she passed away. Some of them I can see that they are black and blue under the surface, um, almost like the subcutaneous layer was melted away somehow by I don't know what. And I don't know if it's what's hurting me currently. It also, I noticed that when they give me the saline bag of IV fluid, when it enters my system, it gives a very cold sensation. It's almost like the trunk of my body from neck to the lower pelvis feels very thermodynamically running hot, and not in a heat flash way. But during the gross UA, I also notice this at times there's epithelial, and it's almost like a burning sensation, but like inside of the venous structure, for which the hydration seems to cool it down temporarily. um and then as it diffuses from this lemon yellow bolus out to the and that very specific gravity of, I don't know what the gravity structure is or the chemical dynamics of it, because I again don't have that level of education or that level of utility tool in order to test it myself. And then subsequently I'm compounded with the issue of, I don't really have a doctor that I found that performs medical diagnostics that lead anywhere. So it just makes it feel like I'm some test subject that someone's collecting data on, that's going in some kind of like, category of doesn't matter. Or I mean, it's just it's very difficult. So um and it seems arbitrary, but again, that in other areas seems really like an important clue and fact, as to what I'm experiencing while I'm here. Um, and the other thing is in the lower extremity. I mean, besides the fact of this holding on to this weight, almost like this immunological response, I just feel so bloated and whatever. I've also lost motion, in the lower extremities, motor function, with side to side and forward and back motion. Like even when I tried running, um, my balance is off, my gravity is off. Um, so that's a problem as well. I did the neuro scan, the MRI. That particular Dr. Chen said it looked unremarkable, so that I guess that was good news. I'll speak again with it with Dr. Trotta, um, but it's very frustrating at this point. It's like no answers, or very little answers. Although the um, the phosphorus being off, and but again, I don't know what the right amount of phosphorus is. They're saying one packet 3 times a day. And while it's having some effect in a gross UA, it's not nearly enough. I mean, the bolus of lemon yellow color, that specific gravity, is still so heavy, that it looks unnatural, and I don't know what's causing that. Um, but it's also this second added feature of feeling like, knowing that I've lost locomotion and motor function in my legs. And at times, like this part of my hand on both sides is really sore right now. Um, and so it's just, these are some of the functions and some of the ongoing, like the digital realm of what they're throwing at the TV categorically, and then physically what I'm experiencing health wise, trying to get my health back. I mean, I'm only 45. I should be able to run a marathon. I should not be gasping for air. I should not be blowing up like 90 pounds over or 70 pounds overweight. I should not have this problem, with any of this stuff by now. I mean, I should be able to hold a thought and be able to hold memories and carry memories through, and tasks. And oh, and the other thing is, at the local store that I'm working on payroll. Um, I worked in this level of job back in the day under Genevieve's. And back then, if I wasn't on a register, I was sometimes put on the floor to stock the shelves. This way I had like a thorough knowledge of where and what things were, and then ringing things up on the register and getting to really know, like, under the roof, all the key crucial parts. Um, and not like receiving or any of that stuff, but stock and register components. Um, in this particular store, they've almost cross sectioned everything, like dissected everything, piecemealed it out. They've got people that come in that wear something called SAS, um, that are stocking shelves. I don't know how that happened. Um, and then they've got me at register level, which I'm on CCTV, um, in a non-discriminatory whatever. Um, and then there's the manager, and I had this manager since I started named Chris, and then Lewis tells me he went in to speak to somebody because, again, it's a local store. He wanted to speak about something, and then he asked for Chris to mention it to Chris, and all of a sudden Chris is no longer there, and I didn't. Nobody internally in the store told me that Chris left, or Chris, I don't know the story behind it. There was no words, there was no meeting, there's no, like, this is your new manager, there was no introduction. Lewis informs me it's somebody by the name of Denise. I have no idea who that is, have not been introduced. I don't know if this is a temporary transitional person. I don't know what happened with Chris. But all of a sudden he was just let go, and that was it. And like and then when I go in, it's just like, check the schedule, get on the 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 lane, and start, dealing with the public. There's no communications whatsoever. There's no team meeting, there's no communications, there's no anything. And Chris just disappeared, and I have no idea why. Like, his picture's gone off the wall, and that's all the answers, like that. And if my dad hadn't been there on looking for Chris that day and asked for him, I still would have not heard anything from the work environment that he no longer even works there. So I mean, that's confusing. Um I also had somebody on CCTV come up and flash a giant card which looks exactly like the store that I'm currently working at. Um, I tried scanning the card for him for his loyalty, whatever, but the computer systems don't, they're not integrated. Um, so he was not able, so then I had to put a different store card in for him. Um, so I thought that was interesting. He was up temporarily from somewhere else. Um, Again, the whole thing's on CCTV, but it's just confusing. Like, where did Chris go? Like, and why is nobody letting us know that? I mean, like, the store manager, like the manager, is now all of a sudden gone. Like, who's his replacement? Like, what happened to him? I mean, like, does anybody even know to ask if he was all right? Like, I mean, again, um, I didn't really get to know the person, but I know his picture was on the wall, and he has this very important title. It seems like a crucial piece of, like, the working parts of the local food chain. So of course I'm concerned, um, especially with, like, all of this, whatever New York City's doing right now, which I'm just like, who's in charge of this? Um, so that's concerning also. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Kidder, it's Earth. solar system, Milky Way universe, galaxy is broken. And it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.